You know what's really gross about this card?
What?
Rocco.
Well, the street chef.
Oh, yeah.
Rocco Street Chef.
Do you know what this does for Rocco?
Whenever a player plays a land from exile or casts a spell from exile, you may put a +1/+1 counter and create a food token.
You now make mana off of their cards. And also every line in competitive Rocco, which is very competitive.
This is competitive. This Rocco is competitive.
They're both very good.
This one's way better, though.
You're fully fucking wrong. But Rocco Street Chef, the better Rocco by a fucking landslide, is just ridiculous.
You're already on air, so I don't need to request.
Am I on air?
I don't need you to request it to.
Oh my god, bro!
Say that live, because now I've got you recorded saying that Rocco Street Chef is better than Rocco Cabaret Caterer.
Rocco Cabaret Caterer is a tutor.
It's better. Welcome to the MoxStars podcast. I am Menace, one of your hosts, and I'm here with Rampage.
Yes, we are here and so excited. Welcome. Let's get to it.
And we've got Annihilator. You had a big boom. You had a really cool sound effect.
I'll give it 2 big booms.
The 2 big booms. What's up, everybody? This is the MoxStars podcast, the #1 podcast on the internet for Magic the Gathering and Dr. Pepper. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so by finding us on YouTube, where you can like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more notifications. You can also find us on all podcasting platforms, where you can leave us a 5-star review to make us look super duper cool. You can also support us on Patreon by becoming an official Pepperhead. For $3 a month, you can have your name turned Dr. Pepper Red on the Discord server. Also, jump on the Discord server, join the community there. Everyone there is awesome. If you're already there, you're awesome. If you're not there, you're not awesome. Get on the server. Become awesome.
Some lively discussion this week. Shouts out Gabe for poking the bear. I just felt like everyone was just itching to talk about their decks and talk about themselves. If you really unleash the fury that is the MoxStars community.
Yes, everyone's like, what is your preferred sleeve of choice, your preferred deck building website of choice, and all of your favorite merch. Yeah, a lot of the MoxStars got out and just showed out with all of their things. Like Mac Oyen got out there and took a picture of like his setup, all of his deck boxes, play mats, all that sweet stuff, and the Kinnan play mat on the way. Our Patreon supporters, by the way, if you don't know who they are, we got Mac Oyen, Definitely Jeremy, Mono Greg, Reven Lift, UWP Cord, Will Rule, Poolboy Barry, Ryan G, and Adam. Thank you all for your support. Thank you all for having your names Dr. Pepper Red on the Discord server. This week, we want to highlight a few cards that are rather underplayed or underappreciated, underrepresented, underrated in the Commander format. Each of us has one card we're going to explain why we think it's underplayed or why it's underrated. Once we get done with that, we're going to jump over. We're going to talk about a couple of things. We have some new Ninja Turtle cards that are pretty gross. And then we'll see where we go from there. All right. Underrated cards. The MoxStars podcast, #1 podcast for underrated cards, Dr. Pepper and Magic the Gathering. My underrated card, the card that is not played nearly enough in all of Commander.
Bring it up.
Is Authority of the Consuls.
Yeah.
And for all of you out there who have never played with this card or have played with this card in Standard, and you're like, oh yeah, this is pretty good. It keeps me from dying to aggro. This is 1 mana, 1 white mana for an enchantment that says creatures your opponents control enter tapped. Whenever a creature an opponent controls enters, you gain 1 life. Well, it seems like a pretty strong effect right off the bat. Well, what if I told you that 1 white mana early enough in the game could net you anywhere from 30 to 40 life? This is generally the case when you play Authority of the Consuls.
I thought you were going to say the Ication Money Changer. You were talking about Authority of the Consuls gaining you life, not the Money Changer.
No.
Okay, I'm in.
Yeah, I know you're a big money changer guy. I know that it's back in the list. You are fully sold on the money changer in all Teon builds for all time. But Authority of the Consuls should also be in consideration whenever you're just building anything with white. And this isn't like to say that anything like in cEDH. I did play this in cEDH because I had a particular build that worked really well with it. Now, hear me out. I used to play a lot of Shalai and Halar, and it was enchantment focused. So I'd had Sarah's Sanctum, Sanctum Weaver, all that stuff to help push the mana base forward. So a turn 1 Authority of the Consuls to get the enchantment like board state building, since our Dockside Extortionist no longer exists in the format. I can't be punished for things like this. Creatures would enter and I would gain a life. Well, Shalai and Halar combos with Heliod, the Heliod that whenever you gain life, you put a +1/+1 counter on something. So you put Heliod down, you cast Shalai and Halar with Authority of the Consuls on the field, and then your opponent plays one creature. You gain 1 life, and then you activate Heliod, targeting Shalai and Halar, and you win the game. It's happened more than you'd think, and it's awesome when it does. So it's a really awesome card in that deck, but there's so many other situations. It's just generically good. It can keep you from dying to Mirkwood bats.
You might not have known this when you put this card as your underappreciated card when you put it in the show doc, that this is the boogeyman of one of my local play groups. Whenever this card comes out, it draws all the focus. Everyone asks the question, like, how are we going to get around this? What are we going to do? Because it has so much incidental value in the decks where it's good, it's great.
Yes.
I think I would go so far to say it's almost an auto include in every white deck, especially mono white. I think if you're not running this, you're probably making a mistake. The thing that I think you say a lot, which is very true about Commander, is that haste is highly underrated.
Yeah.
And so, haste being highly underrated is a very true thing, but it's not just the haste. It's the fact that what this essentially does is a lot of Commander decks are creature heavy. They're very creature heavy, and they're creature heavy because they're using their creatures to accomplish the deck's goal, right?
Yeah.
This essentially time walks a lot of decks. There's a lot of decks where they're activating their creatures by tapping them, not with an ability that requires haste, but you play this against Azami, you play this against Elf Ball, you play this against goblins, you play this against tokens, you play this against anything that makes infinite copies of a thing.
Yep.
This turns those kills off, because if you make, let's say you're playing against Scute Swarm, all of those copies are 1/1s. So if they make infinite 1/1s, you gain infinite life. If they hit you,
it's net neutral.
Net neutral, you're still at 40. This literally turns off some of the most difficult to get out of situations in Commander from a creature-based interaction, right? If you aren't going to do those really wide strategies, this really protects you. I play it in every white deck I have where I'm not going to go super wide. And I also play it in the super wide decks that take a little bit longer to set up.
Yeah, this is like one of those really great includes in decks that take a while to set up. I think it's in Chico. I can't remember if it is or not.
I think we have it in Helga.
Yeah.
We're gaining life, and that helps our strategy, but also because it slows the other decks down just a little bit.
Right.
While we're getting over them.
Yeah, and so that's why I was playing it in cEDH, because, and one of the things you were saying about creating infinites of something, like at the time I was playing against a lot of Rocco with Tordeth being in the community and stuff like that. So his line was primarily like Felidar Guardian Kiki Jiki. And so you can't win with that if all of your creatures are entering tapped and I'm just gaining life.
Yeah, it's worse. It's worse to even try to execute.
Yeah, and then a backup plan for a lot of Atlas's decks was Dualcaster Mage. So it was like, there you go. You can't it doesn't work like with Authority of the Consuls on the field. They have to find a way around it before they can actually act out their plan. So it's really great in those situations. But yeah, Authority of the Consuls, super underrated. If your deck is something that's a little bit more focused on a particular unrefined strategy, like I think when it comes down to like my Kratos and Atreus gods deck, I should have this in there because the deck just needs time
Also,
to like assemble itself.
As a boogeyman card, putting this in to adjust to your local meta is very, very nice. If you have to play against an aristocrat deck, this also really does a lot because every time they sack that Gravecrawler, it comes in tapped. Every time they're, whatever it is that they're bringing back in and out, if it's the kitty, right? All of those little lines, if you're playing against like a Sephiroth build, a Lily build, if you're playing against any of those black or Zov aristocrat builds, this really it protects you. They'll be able to kill the rest of the table and they won't be able to kill you.
For 1 white mana.
Yeah.
They can't milk you.
It's also ridiculous that it's one-sided. I've always thought that was insane. It should just say creatures enter tap, but for 1 white mana, it does so much.
Nope. It's super good. I can't believe I understand why it's actually back down to being pretty cheap. It used to be like
it's $10 for a sec.
Yeah, the cEDH pre-release foil is almost $40. It was $10 for a minute. I remember at one point it was like $18 to get one, but they just reprinted it in Foundations and Final Fantasy Commander. So obviously,
$5.
Yeah, get some more reprints here in the future. I'm guessing this is a card they want in the format to help slower decks. Along.
It does flirt with that line of being scary because like this isn't scary enough to waste removal on.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. That's what I was going to say too. Last thing on this. This card. Every Commander player has a lot to say about this card. But last thing I'll say. My experience every time I've played this card, and I've been playing this card since cEDH, is nobody bats an eye when you put it down, unless they're like they've played a lot of games. If you put it on the table, what happens is you start reminding people, hey, that enters tapped. Hey, that enters.
Yeah.
Hey, and by the 4th turn rotation where this is out, everybody's like, when did this happen? Why are we playing like this?
Yeah.
Why are we putting up with
why does this suck?
When did we just get
why is it
straight
60 life?
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
Everybody forgets about it early game and then
it's worth removing. It's worth removing
it really
every
is.
time.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on to Owen's underrated card. This is from a deck that you've been building recently. So
rebuilding, retooling.
Yeah, rebuilding, retooling. As a 2.
As a 2. It's going to be bad, but I'm thinking about making it a 3 and not doing the gates thing. But I like the idea of gates.
Well, walk us through Seasoned Dungeoneer.
So for several years, I played Legacy. And one of my favorite decks was a deck that really blew up after the initiative came out as a concept. In Baldur's Gate, there were many cards that have Adventurer or Seasoned, whatever, in the name. And they all cost 4 mana, and they all give you the initiative when they enter. And then they all do something on your attacks that makes it so you can venture pretty easily or keep that defended. The reason this is my favorite, and it is pretty much, I'd say unanimously the best one. A lot of people like the black one, a lot of people like the green one, and a lot of people like the red one. There's another white one that untaps all your creatures and only costs 3 mana. I love this one the most because it gives, whenever you attack, target attacking cleric, rogue, warrior, or wizard gains protection from creatures until end of turn, and it explores. That is crazy.
Yeah.
That is such a powerful effect, and it does it to itself. And it doesn't just do it to itself. It says when you attack. So if you have any creature out, and then you play this, you take the initiative. So you get a basic land into your hand, and now you have a 3/4. If you attack with anything that is a party-typed creature, which a lot of the best creatures in Commander are rogues, warriors, and wizards. There's also a lot of good clerics, but everyone's got rogue, warriors, and wizards. I don't care what colors you're playing, you're going to have a lot.
They're in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the thing is that this is a warrior too. So even if you don't have them out other than this, it will end up happening. It gains protection from creatures.
So no blocks. You cannot block it.
Not only cannot be blocked, the combat damage with deals damage, whatever, doesn't work. It's going to get through, it's going to connect, and before that, it explores. The combination of protection, exploring, and now you have this venturing mechanic is so strong that there is an entire deck in Legacy that is dedicated to running 4 copies of this one and 4 copies of the 4-mana red one.
Yeah, I will say that this is, while it is like a heavily played card in Legacy, if you had to put all of the reminder text on the printed card itself, it would not have room for artwork.
Yeah.
Like, you know how they did those basic lands?
Oh,
like
no.
from Secret Lair?
It has Explore, it has Protection, it has Party, it has Initiative, it has Venture. It has so much text.
I am upset. You were explaining this card. I was upset because my brain started expanding, and the pressure in my cranium was.
But the thing is you
unbearable.
don't need to build around this. This is a one-off. If you get it out, you can go into the Undercity, and people have to take it from you. They have to hit you to get it from you, just like the Monarch. So if you're in a white go wide deck and you're not playing this, the benefit is huge. I don't know any other white cards that just let you tutor for a basic land on ETB and then proceed to let you scry, build bodies, you can goad a creature,
make a treasure,
goad a creature, target player loses 5 life, draw a card, create a 4/1 with menace, and then you do the top 10, and then you get to go through again.
Yeah, it just keeps looping, which is part of the, you were talking about the other creature that's 3 mana, is White Plumed Adventurer.
Yeah.
That is a win condition in Teon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
White Plume Adventurer is also insane because, it's an end step, untap your one creature. But if you've completed a dungeon, you get to untap all your creatures at every player's untapped end step.
Yeah, it's like crazy how it becomes a Seedborn Muse.
It's a 3-mana Seedborn Muse that gets you through the dungeon. Anyway, I just think all of these effects of the initiative are highly undervalued in Commander. They're valued in competitive play at a high level because if you get them out early, people cannot catch back up. But in Commander, I only see them played in decks that are built around the dungeon. And
it is funny though, like at a glance, you might not take this as an impressive card until you've read it, until you've played with it a whole bunch, and you can see what it does. But when the playgroup back home probably 2 years ago, we're like, oh, we're gonna build some legacy decks just to try it out, figure out what all the hype is about. And we did legacy lands.
Yep.
We did some Dimir Reanimator. There was like a Muxus Turbo Red Goblin thing. And then the 4th deck was Boros Initiative.
Yep.
And like it was so weird to me how that one contended with the other 4 that were, or the other 3, that were like top tier decks at that time.
Yes.
We get to play all the best goblins and all the best lands, and I get to reanimate the most broken stuff. And then I get a 3/4 with initiative. Like that was on the same level. It's crazy.
And it's still there. It's still in the top. I just checked. It's still, it just went 8-1 at a legacy tournament 10 days ago. So, it's still very competitive. Getting it out early is crazy.
My favorite types of decks are the ones that, like, in constructed 60 card decks that you can transform into a commander deck.
Right.
Like, because you're so familiar with the lines from the constructed deck that you can make this Rube Goldberg machine of like one-off effects to magnify it somehow. It's funny that we're talking about taking the initiative because right now in Magic, MTG social media, Gavin Verhey is doing this series on his Instagram account about the top 10 worst mechanics ever designed. And he's on number 7 today. On the day of this recording, he's on number 7. I can't imagine that there is anything worse than the initiative. That he's going to get to number 1 and he's going to be like, honestly, no one cared. That take the initiative was such a complex mechanic because it included venturing into the dungeon, which sort of made you put you under the assumption that you had played Adventures in the Forgotten Realms to like know what that was.
It's like a side. You have a whole side game of Magic. Now.
Yeah,
to keep track of what room you're in.
And then there's a new dungeon called the Undercity that you can only enter if you take the initiative, because taking the initiative also means that when you take the initiative, you venture into the Undercity. That was unwritten text. There's not a single card that says venture into the Undercity. There is only cards that say take the initiative, which translates to venture into the Undercity.
Yep.
So it was a very, very strange mechanic with not a lot of, when it was introduced, not a lot of like, I guess you could say, literature on it. You know, it's very confusing to understand. But now it's, seeing it at the top of Legacy makes a lot of sense when you're like, oh yeah, it has venturing into the Undercity, it has protection, it has explore, it does all these things. So yeah, cool card. All right, Rampage, take us home with your underrated card.
Yeah. One thing I love to see, I think it's so powerful, is the Amphibian Downpour. This is 2 and a blue for an enchantment. It's an aura with flash. Bonus, it has Storm, which I assume also makes Gavin's list of horrible mechanics.
You would hope so.
You enchant a creature, it loses all abilities, becomes a frog, and a 1/1. Why I think this is awesome and why I think this is underplayed. Here, I'm gonna demonstrate how I think you should play it. Are you ready?
I'm
okay,
here.
Here we go.
I'm here for it.
Here's how you should play Amphibian Downpour.
2 hours later.
You just shut up. You just shut up. You just let the game play. You don't do anything. When somebody pops off, when they think they got you by the nuts and they're gonna win the game and they got this amazing combo, then you play the Amphibian Downpour.
Yeah.
It changes the entire game. This is not a game changer, but it changes every game it enters because not only does it doesn't kill stuff, it just puts it on pause. It just sits there. And now your friends need to make like Amphibian Downpour packs. Like, I'll run my 1/1 commander into your 1/1 commander so that we can just get them back.
Now,
Go ahead.
I will say that you have to make an Amphibian Downpour pack, like a pack of tokens for it, because it oftentimes explodes for like 5 or 6 copies, and it's still cheap enough where it's $1.46, where you can just go out and just buy a ton of copies.
I carry 11 extras with me because I play.
You just bought a bunch.
I have 2 decks I play this in, and I agree with you that the best case scenario is you let somebody really pop off. But some of the most impactful.
No, that was right.
Impactive. Some of the most impactful times I've downpoured have been when somebody just played somebody played something, somebody else countered it, somebody played something else. You know, just for like even 2. Because if you can get this for 3 copies, you can get all of your opponent's commanders. So, you know, some of the time you just have somebody like cast a Soul Ring and a Signet, and you're just like, you know what? I'll downpour. Boom. All of your commanders are frogs.
I think this would see play at 4 mana. It's currently 3 mana.
Yeah.
I think this would see play at 4. I think it's fair at 4 mana. And the other reason is talking, is chatter. Like, you get some decision making now. Storm counts 5 guys, and I see 7 scary things.
Yeah.
You know, I won't turn off your big swingy angry 7/7 infect if it doesn't swing at me ever. Yeah. You know, I'll let you have it. It gives you the opportunity to talk, and I think that adds to this card's power.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fun to use this politically because you can say, I'm not gonna do a board wipe.
Yeah, the funny again, when this resolves and you do get the storm trigger goes on the stack and you just go, all right, it's going to be 5. Like, what are you going to do? Like, storm trigger on the stack. Let's, have this conversation. And then it resolves and you do nuke their commanders. A lot of people don't trade frog for frog, which is really weird. Where it's just like, no, we should just be trading frogs right here.
That's why I was shocked when you said that, because I've been playing this since it came out. We have it in every single one of our blue decks.
Yeah, every deck that I build in blue has this.
Yeah, and I play it in. I have 2 frog themed decks, of which this is an all-star in, and I've never seen anybody do frog for frog. Never once.
No.
Because what happens is it's like, well, if I'm neutered and he's neutered, I'd rather us both be neutered than have him get his commander back. Some commanders, it's like there's really no other way to deal with them. And, so what ends up happening is people are just desperately taking one. They're like, please. They're like, please. They got the
block it.
They're like, please kill my frog. No, I'm not killing your frog.
Yeah. The upside is crazy with it, because the higher the storm count, the crazier your Sanctum Weaver gets, and the crazier your Sarah Sanctum gets too, if you're in ban.
Oh, yeah.
What I always do, a little pro tip on the Downpour, because now all of our listeners are going to be playing Amphibian Downpour.
And we're going to have to see it at the table.
I want to say, put the, not the storm token copies, put the original Amphibian Downpour on the creature that they're going to blow up the first. So if you have like an opponent whose deck does not work without their commander, and they're going to find a way to kill that frog, put the original copy on there. If you can recur this, you get to do it all over again. Yeah. And I do that so frequently. So I'll have 9 copies. I'll frog everything, and I'll put the original on an opponent's commander that I know they're going to go frog for frog or something with. Usually it's, they just chump with it. And then it's like, it's in my yard. You put it back in my yard.
Yeah, Muldrotha decks salivate at Amphibian Downpour.
It's so hot with Muldrotha.
Yeah. Now, this is a severely underrated card. It constantly goes under the radar because people are more focused on playing counter magic, or they're more focused on, like, if they're in multiple colors, they're focused on different types of removal or different versions of removal, like bounce spells. Like, if you're gearing down and not playing, even if you're playing cEDH, I think there's a home for this. Like, in the right deck, if you're playing a 4 or you're playing a 3, even, you can, downshift into this by just taking a Chain of Vapor out and then putting this in instead. I think you're actually going to be way happier, like, because you're not only putting in a really fun card, but you get to, just like see different variety across all of your decks.
My love for this started seeing it in cEDH. It was in a Marnius Calgar list, so all those storm copies are tokens, and it draws cards.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is that this is a ruling that maybe the Marnius Calgar. Let me look up Marnius Calgar quick. Because it says whenever one or more tokens enter the battlefield, yes, draw a card. It's important to note that the storm copy does not create a token. So if it would just say whenever you create one or more tokens, draw a card, it would not work. Whenever you cast a copy of a permanent spell, the thing that enters is not you're not creating a token. It is the result of a copied spell. Yep. So
shouts out all my Volo boys know that hurt, trying to play their token doublers in their Volo deck. It just doesn't work that way.
All right. Here we go. We're moving on to this week's play of the week. It actually involves one of our underrated cards. Rampage, I believe you are in this pod. If you would be so kind to take us away.
All right, I want to set the stage. This was Dr. Pepper week in the Wednesday webcam wizardry. So that's very important. All of our cards have a Dr. Pepper theme. Very early on, I play Luminarch Ascension. It's funny how Luminarch Ascension becomes the focal point of the game when it gets cast, but I played it because it's the card number 23 from the 25th anniversary set. So I played this.
Flavorful.
I'm gearing up to make 4/4 Angels. I'm not quite there yet. I met with Tordeth, who plays a Meek Stone. Everything that's bigger than 2 doesn't untap.
If you guys are unfamiliar with Luminarch's Ascension, at the beginning of your of each opponent's end step, if you didn't lose life, you put a quest counter on it. And if you have 4 or more quest counters, you can pay 1 and a white to create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying. It's insane. It's insane value. 2 mana for a 4/4 flyer.
Everyone has to do everything they can to deal at least 1 damage to you every turn. It is game warping. So yeah, then a Meekstone enters. Meekstone is a artifact that says creatures with greater than 2 power don't untap.
Power 3 or greater. Yep.
3 or greater don't untap. So this was being played in a Calamax deck where you want the Calamax to be tapped so that you can copy all of your instants and sorceries. It's actually an advantage in that deck. So I'm getting beat up for playing this Luminarch Ascension. And then once I finally get it to enough counters to be able to activate the ability, this Meekstone is out there that doesn't let me untap my 4/4s that I make. And then on top of it, Menace plays the Authority of the Councils. So all of my angels enter tapped and they stay tapped. And every time I make one, I'm gaining Menace life. So I'm pretty hooked. And I think if anything, this play talks to the power of Dr. Pepper and what it can do for you if you persevere, if you keep those 23 flavors close to your heart. One card I had in my deck was the 5th Doctor, because it is a doctor in my Dr. Pepper deck. Why was I? For absolutely no reason other than it being a doctor. The 5th Doctor is 2, a white and a blue. And it has peaceful coexistence. At the beginning of your end step, you put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control that didn't attack or enter the battlefield this turn. Untap those creatures. Well, look at that. We have saved ourselves the embarrassment of getting held hostage by the Authority of the Councils and the Meekstone by this silly Doctor Who card.
Speaking of 23 flavors, I think a really nice flavor here is that this guy entered tapped.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He saved himself too. He would have just been part of the slew. Wow, dude.
And it's at one point I think the trigger was on the stack to turn this into a 5/5. I was playing Marith Will of the Wild, and it's my Dr. Pepper deck. And it's, if you were to mix white, green, and red together, what would you have? Like the 3 colors combined in one, you'd have
brownish.
Yes, you would have the Nectar of the Gods. You'd have,
I think so.
Yes,
be a little more rust.
Yeah, but nonetheless, the same color as Dr. Pepper.
Sure.
And fizzy and exciting as that deck is, I had to pump Marith with 4 mana so I could zap the Doctor off the field. Otherwise, it was just not going anywhere. And
this became a problem, which is hilarious.
Yeah, it became the biggest lightning rod in the game. Like with everything that was currently there, Meekstone, Authority of the Consuls, Luminarch Ascension, those 3 incredibly powerful cards, all completely outclassed by the 5th Doctor.
He looks so chill too.
If you're watching this on YouTube, if you have heard of the 5th Doctor before today, and if you do, you're a liar, because no shot has anyone thought of this card ever.
All right.
Worth noting, during that game, I had a milking strategy that would have won me the game if Menace didn't have the Authority of the Councils gaining him life every time I made a dude. So
yes, there was.
He's difficult to milk. He's difficult to milk. I've been trying to milk him for a while, and it's not.
I have the perfect strategy.
I'm now not in.
Most perfect strategy to be not milked. So we have all of these exciting new things happening in Magic the Gathering. We have a new set on the horizon coming out at the top of March.
Yeah, very soon.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles set. And if you have followed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles since the 80s when it was first created, you know there is some deep cuts. There's a lot of lore to explore here. And so we're getting a lot of lore. And, we're getting the same treatment with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as we got with Doctor Who. There's crazy things that I never thought I would ever see, and I had no idea were ever part of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So the commander decks were spoiled today. All of the cards from the commander decks can now be found on Scryfall. You can also watch Command Zone, if you want to watch them try to explain every card that is printed here. But there are some spicy new things, like continue, question mark. I don't know if you guys
seen this card yet.
Yeah, so 1 and a white for an instant that says choose up to 4 target creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. Return them to the battlefield.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, I'm not. Would you like to continue?
Are you kidding me?
It seems good. And then endless.
What are we doing?
And I'm just looking to the right here because I haven't seen this yet. Endless Foot Assault. 2 and a white for an enchantment that has squad. So 1 and a white. If you pay an additional 1 and a white, you get multiple copies for each time you pay the squad cost. So you can pay this multiple times.
This isn't kicker. You can do it.
It's multi-kicker. But yeah.
Okay.
And whenever
kicker would make more sense on a foot card.
Yeah.
I just think.
Yeah, why is this multi-kicker on Endless Foot Assault? What a flavor fail.
And
they
then
didn't put multi-kicker
yes,
on
on a foot, yes. And then it says, whenever you attack, for each opponent, create a 1/1 black ninja creature token that's tapped and attacking that player.
Okay, hold on.
That's insane. So if you go for 5 mana, 7 mana.
You get 2 whenever you attack to each player.
Yes. You get 2 whenever you
5
attack.
5 mana.
Yes.
Whenever you attack,
you get
so
6
if I
power.
attack each player with one thing, I get 6 tokens.
You only have to attack 1 player and you get 6 tokens.
Wait, hold on. Whenever you attack for each opponent. Oh, it's not for each your attack.
It's not each attack. No, it's just you just have to have one creature that's able to attack.
This is going to be a huge problem in aristocrat decks.
Yeah, this
anything
is a really
that
good
can
card.
efficiently build useless bodies that people don't care about is scary.
So while we are
7 mana, it's 9.
just kind of crossing, like as we're just crossing these cards' paths, you can sort of see how ridiculously powerful these commander decks are going to be, and how strong this set is going to be, and how sought after a lot of these cards are. I think that's kind of Wizards of the Coast strategy a lot of the time when it comes to a set that they don't think is going to sell well based on premise alone. They pump it. They pump it with power. They're like,
we're not going to have Spider-Man again.
You literally can't play the game without these cards.
Yeah, they weren't allowing the Spider-Man.
They didn't want Spider-Man to happen again, and so literally they got everybody out here fiending for packs.
Don't do that.
Is this the first time we've seen squad on a non-creature?
Okay, so
maybe
this set, that's a good thing to point out. This set is although it's not using typical ninjutsu, it's using sneak.
Yeah.
This is the first set to put that on non-ninjas.
Oh, sneak.
They're putting sneak on instants, sorceries, they're putting squad on enchantments. They're putting a lot, they're diversifying what all of these effects can do. And they work the same as they've always worked, obviously, but up until now, we were under the impression that a lot of these things would not be put on these types and spell types. So I am typically when they do that, it becomes really gross, and these look pretty gross. Continue seems pretty scary. I'm not gonna lie, it seems a little.
It's conditional, right? So 4 more different creatures have to die within that turn. So if you're playing the aristocrats build and you're just like sack, and then you
but as an
2 mana it gets
for
them all
a
back.
board wipe, you come back.
Yes.
It is conditional, but if again in mono white or in
this is your Helios, or this is your not Helios intervention. This is your heroic intervention.
Yeah.
So for white.
And ETBs matter.
Yes. Rolling down, you're going to see some really ridiculous things in this set, like Dimension X, Pizza Sore, 3 and a black for an artifact creature, Food Alien Mutant. That is all you need to know. But the artwork is also crazy. There is this equipment I just read called the Foot Chopper. It's 1 and a black. When this creature enters, create a 1/1 black ninja creature token, then attach this equipment to it. Equip for 2. Equip creature has flying. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it and then draw cards equal to its power. So, kind of rad. Game over. The spell costs 2 less to cast if a player's life total is less than or equal to their half their starting life total. So it can be a 3 mana sorcery. Destroy all creatures.
It's a good rate.
Yeah.
You shouldn't play it, but it's a good rate.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of really cool things. We're excited. We'll circle back next week and talk more about this. But there's one card in particular we'd like to talk about because we do feel that it does break a few decks wide open.
Yep. It shortcuts the lines and what these decks want to do.
For a lot of
is the food decks.
Yes, a lot of food decks. Like food for a long time has been a permanent or a token type that has not quite seen the support. I'm not going to say it's a bad mechanic to build around. We've seen Eater of All become like a pretty popular commander. We've seen with the Lord of the Rings set with like Peregrine Took, like creating food tokens in addition to other tokens you would create. And then just like the Frodo and Sam partner deck, which is very food centric, which Annihilator here has a version of that deck.
Yeah.
This card is called Ninja Pizza. Ninja Pizza.
Kind of a stupid name.
I don't know why it's an enchantment, but it's 2 and a green for an enchantment that says foods you control have tap, sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color.
Foods are treasures.
Foods become...
That's good. We like that.
They don't specifically become treasures, but they gain the ability that treasures have.
Which is very important.
Yes, that is important. At the beginning of your second main phase, create a food token. So this is where the card sort of generically does its thing. It's self-feeding. I think if it just had the first line of text, you would be like, oh yeah, this goes in just a food deck, right? This just goes in a food deck, and I think it makes food decks stronger. But now it's like, well, this can just go in any deck. I can just put this in, and now I get either 3 life or mana.
What were we talking about, Annihilator? They just put the thing on the card that does the thing, and then on the same card they do the payoff for the thing.
That's my one critique of like most contemporary card design. Yes, I say that a lot. I don't see this as that. I just see this as a very weird shortcut. So like there's 3 effects that I run in my Hobbits deck that just say your tokens tap for a green, right? Like you can use your tokens.
Yeah, Jaheira and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a 4 mana enchantment that does a very similar thing. It makes them tap for green.
Knight of Sweet's Revenge.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of effects that you can do. Cryptolith Rite for your creatures, right? Like there's a lot of things you can do to make it so they stay out, but you would almost rather be sacrificing them. A lot of the payoffs in food deck come from sacrificing food.
Specifically, whenever you sacrifice a food.
Right? So with Nuka-Cola vending machine with this, you have Nuka-Cola out. You tap, you sacrifice a food, you add a mana of any color, you get a treasure tapped. That's crazy. You're now netting, you now are mana neutral on your foods, which you get one every turn. So every turn you will get a mana, which when you spend, you will get a mana for the next turn. And then on the next turn, you will get a mana, which will give you a mana on the next turn for a total of 6 mana, which is crazy. That's also all of that will be giving you value in these decks. The card that immediately came to mind in my build is there is a card in this build that I think is highly underrated. Rapacious Guest is 69 cents. It is 2 and a black for a 2/2 with menace. It says whenever blah blah blah, who cares. 3rd line, whenever you sacrifice a food, put a counter on this. When this leaves the battlefield, target opponent loses life equal to its power. When it leaves, it doesn't have to die. It can.
That's a horse.
Yeah, this thing with Ninja Pizza will be gross.
Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, so you can get 3 foods in a combat.
Yes,
is that correct?
Cool.
And it's got menace.
Yeah. Another card that I think everyone is just going to lean into a little bit more than they were before is Academy Manufacturer.
Oh yeah.
No.
Academy Manufacturer with this is ridiculous.
I just read it. It's Academy Manufactor. Manufactor. Yep.
One who manufacts. Yep.
Yeah, not manufacturer. Like I've always put the on it, but that's not correct. Okay, yeah. If you would create a clue, food, or treasure token, instead create one of each. So with Ninja Pizza in combination with this, not only does Ninja Pizza generate enough generic value in your second main phase by creating you essentially what is a treasure, this will now create you a treasure and that same food and a clue. Yep. So it actually gives you the mana necessary to crack the clue if you wanted to go that route. I just feel like you can build something really, really nasty. The engine behind Ninja Pizza the potential is crazy. I think that, right? Laugh
it's a
at
sentence
me.
I never thought like I would hear somebody say.
Yeah. Like, why did you do this?
Ninja Pizza.
Yeah, the engine behind Ninja Pizza, if you built specifically into something that's like, hey, if you want green artifacts and include 2 other colors and you want to go crazy, this is now how you do it. So yeah, Academy Manufactor becomes in tandem with that, gives you insane value. What was the card you were just saying?
Rapacious Guest.
Rapacious Guest.
Nuka-Cola. There are so many cards that go with it. Igra is another.
Yeah.
Yes. Igra, Eater of All, is another card that I think is worth mentioning. I think this.
Oh, Agent of the Iron Throne is also nasty.
This will inspire a lot of new Igra decks to pop up in your local metas. And then.
Oh, Trail of Crumbs. Holy cow. Trail of Crumbs is crazy. You sack a food. You can just do this.
Oh, yeah. Whenever you sacrifice a food, you may pay 1 mana. If you do, look at the top 2 cards of your library, reveal a permanent card from among them, and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So
sack food, add a mana, spend the mana. Look at the top 2, put 1 in your hand.
Yeah, it wouldn't be shocking to see this increase in value in tandem with Ninja Pizza. I think a lot of Commander decks would appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Annihilator. You have had your eye on this card for a minute now, and I think you need to do a little bit of explain yourself, but you believe that Michelangelo on the scene is a problem.
I think it could be. So it is a 6 mana 2/2 with trample, which is really good. It enters with a +1/+1 counter on it for each land you control. And when it dies, you return it to your hand. So my issue with this commander is that, 1, in mono green, there is a legacy of Thrun the Last Troll and other commanders like that, which don't really scare that many people. They don't get that much play. They're just a really resilient creature. There's Wilson, Refined Grizzly, right? There's a lot of these mono green stompy commanders that almost want a Voltron build, and nobody really builds them. If they do build them, they do pretty good in the 2s or the low 3s. But this never goes away. You just recast it, and every time you cast it, it's bigger, and it never will have to deal with commander tax. It truly won't. Unless you exile it, it will not ever get commander taxed. And you almost don't want it to, because it will come back. Now, the crazy thing about this card that came to my mind is 2 cards. 1, the Ozolith. 2, Greater Good.
Yeah.
This is stupid.
It's really
do you guys understand how stupid this is with those cards?
Well, once you get to 6,
you just boom, ba-doom, boom, boom, ba-doom, boom, and you are. By the time you cast this, it's typically entering with 4 counters at least. Let's say you have a Soul Ring out, right? It'll be a 6/6 for 6. It will likely be an 8/8 for 6. If you're playing it on.
If you played it
lands,
yeah, with lands, yeah.
But the other thing that this does is, if you're just playing a green ramp deck with generically a lot of what we used to play was Multani. If you remember the Dominaria Multani, that card is still good. It's a trampler that you can pay 2, return 2 lands to your hand, and return it from your graveyard to your hand. People played that for a few years in the mono green ramp decks. They played it in Ashaya decks. They played it in Azusalis, because it gets huge. All of the green creatures that get +1/+1 for each forest you control, me and Rampage are working on a few Ashaya lists right now. Those, like the Dungrove Elders, all those are great cards. Those are really strong cards. They end up hitting you for like 12. I mean, they are nasty cards in mono green. This is that, but it also gives you an out to sack it and cycle it repeatedly back to your hand and milk those counters off, which is crazy. I mean, that the what you can get with this, the Ozolith and or Oroid.
Did you say milk?
I said milk.
Wow.
I think you can milk this thing. This thing looks prime for milking.
Didn't want to get too far away from that.
I know.
I've been thinking about Greater Good in Ashaya.
Well, I have it in my list because my list is better.
You should.
Oh, wow. That brings us to our next point. In our next point of conversation that we can have before we wrap up this episode.
Fight of the week.
Fight of the week. Is it okay? Is it okay in your pods, in your local community, for two players to build the same commander and coexist? I think this is contentious. This is one of those things where, like, I've been a part of plenty, a few communities that when someone builds a deck, like, let's say, for example, Will Rule out there has a Joyra deck.
Yes.
Right. And nobody else, even though the deck is very open-ended and has a lot of different routes that you can take, nobody else in the world, in that community, nobody else in that community will build that deck because Will Rule has built it. I don't think there's an issue with being like, hey, he built that deck. I think his deck's really cool. I also want to build the deck, but I want to build it with sagas because it's a historic permanent that draws me a card. Is that okay?
You're the problem. Yeah, that's like, there's like, you've heard of like bro code, right? You wouldn't go after your buddy's ex, right?
This is bro code?
I hear that. This is bro code for sure.
You don't build a commander deck that somebody else has already built. That is blasphemy. Now, two pods will marry or merge, right? You're new to a community, or you meet some new people, you bring them in,
move to a different town.
I have to play a deck too. That's okay. It's probably, but that's okay.
Because your grandfathered in.
Yeah.
But to build a deck that somebody else has is insane. I don't know how you take that position.
I have a really good friend back in California too that we use the term swag surfing versus swag stealing. And sometimes people are surfing your swag, and that's okay. It happens, right? People are like, this guy's got a little sauce. He's got a little emotion. I'm going to ride on the coattails a little bit, right? I'm going to say, hey, I know that dude. I'm going to be a little parasocial maybe. I'll say like, oh yeah, he had this great play where he Heliod interventioned all my things away. You can say that to everyone right? Immediately after it happens. But then there's people who just straight up steal your swag. And they don't talk to you about it, and they don't advertise it. They just show up the next day to school with the same bike. You know what I mean? They just show up to school the next day and they got
the same I will bike. Say, I will like, say,
hey, whoa, that's my bike.
That has happened to me, and that's where I say like that across the line. Yeah, I had a mongoose when I was like 12. Rode that mongoose to school, brother. I rode that mongoose to school. Right, had neon green pegs on it.
Hell yeah!
Oh yeah, right. And I'm thinking I'm like Yes, I'm the coolest.
Here's the thing: that dude who stole your bike, because I had two people who built the same bike as me in high school. They didn't ask. They didn't talk to me. They didn't say, hey, bro, cool bike. That's a problem. But now within a pod, if you're in a dedicated play group that you see the same three people pretty regularly, and one of them builds, I think it's taboo to build the same commander that somebody else built. I don't even give the excuse of, well, mine's different. It's not a typical Atraxa. It's a different Atraxa. I'm doing Atraxa with these kind of counters. Shut up, bro. There's already one of them. Just stop it.
So what you're saying is that because I've built Animar now, no one can build it.
Not even. It's not no one. It's if I built Animar right now. It would be weird.
Why?
Our commander decks are such a reflection of ourselves that like you building the same deck I've built is insane. You're
But
just
we
trying
both
to
play Teom. We both play Teom. I built it first. I'm not offended that you make it and play it.
He's also in a different state.
But we're in the same community, in the same pod.
And you've
Sometimes,
worked on the list
most of the time.
together.
Yeah.
That's different.
Okay, so now because you guys are double dipping into Shia, because you've put it up to
We'd been working on it separately, and I think we both had lists.
We were
ready.
married.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think it was a forced marriage because you were both building it, and then this conversation came up, and you were like, "Well, we have to work on it together now, otherwise it's not cool. It's not cool anymore." So otherwise, you're going to be at odds. You'd be fighting with each other because you want to build a deck. Brandon's had the list. I mean, Rampage had the list for 19 years.
I said it out loud.
He said that out loud.
Is there a way to see a
Don't give
history?
me that. Look at this. I have a Shia Wild thing that I built February. I last updated.
Yeah, last updated.
Yeah, that's last updated.
What's last updated?
It doesn't tell you because I worked on this today.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Brandon, when was the last time you worked on yours?
Okay, we're not doing this. That was I wanted to go to like when it was made, but it doesn't say that on Moxfield. It says when you last created it.
You could go to the entire history and say and look at the first card ever added.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Yeah,
if you go
mine
through
is
the history.
January 16th, 2025.
Oh, a year ago?
There you go.
I think
All right.
I think mine was like June last year. So you're
Okay,
older
so
than me.
stop building the deck.
Listen. All we're saying is that you can be a swag stealer. You can be stealing swag and
But it is taboo.
it is to me it's taboo, and I want to say one other asterisk to this, especially off of what you just said, where it's like all decks are a personal reflection of us.
Yep.
What I believe is like the ninth circle of hell that like these types of commander players deserve to go to. If you are a net decker, if you just like go to EDH rec and copy and paste the list into Card Kingdom, and that's like how you build your commander decks, you should deserve to play against mirror matches of exactly the same 99 every single time you sit down. That's how you should. It should be because you don't have swag.
But they just draw better in that hell scenario as punishment.
Right.
They're
That's
playing,
all it is.
but they draw better.
But it is. It's like I think there are people who put less into it. I know people who play Commander as kind of like I'm going to pass the time at a tournament, right? Because they're 60 card players, and so they just kind of net deck. They don't really care if like somebody else has the same deck. They're like, oh, that's cool. I love playing that Commander too. That's fine. But when it's people like this, where it's like all you're doing is like, I tweaked my list. I updated it a little bit. I found a little bit more edge. I'm gonna change 3 cards out. You know. When you're putting that much effort into it for a long time and you end up with a highly curated, personalized list, and somebody who plays with you regularly sees how much fun that list is, and they build it themselves to play against you, that's bizarre. That's like bizarre. That's like
You got the thumbs up for me, man.
I don't know, man. If you were going over to your friend's house for play dates and they had a Lego set that you really liked or a video game that you really liked, and then they come over to your house for play dates.
Is it like a risk of like
it's like what
if your Legos touch my Legos? Like, is that like a
no,
thought?
but like why did we
where you're
double up? Like we had this base covered. We already had this deck in the rotation. We don't need you to have
So I can't I could ask to borrow the deck. I don't need to build it myself. I could ask to borrow it.
Listen, I'm an ecologist. I can speak to the importance of biodiversity. Any system where there is not a high level of diversity will die, right? You'll die out. If everybody starts playing the same 99s, I mean the format dies. You need to have genetic diversity.
Why share my deck list then? Like if you're out there and you're listening to this, you should check out the description below where you can find all of my deck lists where I encourage you to steal my swag, and I encourage you to copy those lists, build them for yourselves, and see how much fun they are. Because, you're not in my pod, right? And if I see you out in the wild, if you see me out in the wild, play that deck against me. I will play my deck against you, and we'll see who's the better pilot. So are you saying, okay, so now that this is a side tangent, we're going to just continue this conversation a little bit.
This bit deep.
All right.
Oh man.
We're going deep because what about every blue farm player where where the list is solved? Okay.
cEDH gets a pass. If
I can't
one
speak
person
on
in the
this.
world plays Tim DeCrom and everyone in the world plays that same list, they should. It's the best deck in the format. You're playing to win.
It's not the best. It's just the most played.
Right. Well,
So
stats might disagree, but yes,
yeah. This is the most played.
It's the best deck.
Anyway, what I'm getting at is if you're like part of, Team Never Punished, like Tordeth is, and that whole community of cEDH players, right? There is a strategy when you go into a tournament that you all play similar or strategies or the same deck, right? So you workshop something that works for all of you, like 3 or 4 of you, and then you go into the tournament and you're working as a team to work up the ladder. So if one of you makes it because of this build, then you all claim credit. Is that sort of... It's different because it's a competitive, like a competitive environment?
I think so. I genuinely think it's different.
Yeah, no, it is. This is like a cEDH podcast with one non-cEDH person.
We've been pretty bracket 3 lately.
We've been pretty bracket 3 lately. But I'm just saying, you two, I've been in the cEDH space. It's like how you started this, right? Like you were very much in that. I am very much not. I don't like the format. I think that
we're losing subscribers because you just said that.
Subscribe for these two. You can.
We're back at 619.
Leave hate comments for me. That's fine. I love it. It gives me energy. If you have played 60 card competitive formats and you've gone to like GPs or SCG Opens, right? Which I've been doing since I was 12. Those events where you're playing like these best of 3 games all day long for like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours of Magic with usually you go with someone who's playing your same 75.
Yeah.
Or
all the decks are very much the same.
Well, no, but like on purpose. I usually did that. I would have like 4 friends who were going, right? I'm thinking like SCG Open Oakland was the tournament I did the best at in like RTR. And I went with 3 other like kids my age who were playing basically the same deck because we had practiced the lines together and we had really worked hard on. Well, we had probably the same like 70 cards, but maybe 5 cards different in each direction for each of us, right? Because some of us were like, I actually really think this card is better as a 4 of, or I think I'm going to throw in 1 of this in the main, right?
Just in case for like the side.
Right. Like everybody will have their own preferences, and that's how competitive lists look, right? Like if you look at MTG Goldfish, if you look at Top 16, you see that there is a convergence with like 75% of the cards. And then when you look at that top 1 list from the tournament, it'll have a little sauce to it. It'll be different. And that's because that's that person's list. And that's why, when you net deck or whatever for competitive play, even for Blue Farm, there's going to be like 1 or 2 cards that you changed because I know your meta.
I played Blue Farm last weekend and I changed 3 cards from the universally accepted list.
Amphibian Downpour. 1.
But seriously, that's a whole different thing. That's not stealing swag. That is when you're in a highly, highly competitive environment like that, especially 60 card, it's...
Well, I think
you need to make those margin calls with other people who know there's shit. Yeah. If you're just going on your own, you're at a different level. I've never been able to exist in those formats without those kinds of conversations.
Well, there's different perspective to be gained. You're all playing the same deck. After each round, you come together and you're like, I actually played against this deck. We were anticipating seeing this. This is what happened. This is the sequence of things. This is how you handle it because we hadn't quite seen that yet, or this is a deck we anticipated to be here. This is how you beat it.
Right.
So now we're getting too far into the competitive. Let's circle back to the taboo aspect of and give the dear listeners a final answer on this. We'll each vote on whether or not it is taboo to build the same commander deck, same commander, not the same deck, but the same commander as someone else in your pod. I vote yay. I think it's funny.
I vote nay.
And it looks like Rampage is voting nay. If you're watching us on YouTube, which you should be liking, subscribing, and ringing that bell for more notifications. You can see Rampage holding up a thumbs down. Not right now, but 7 seconds ago.
This is like at the movies.
Yeah.
But we're like Siskel and Ebert up here. You're like, no, I like cEDH. I'm like, I don't like the format. I don't think. You're like, I think it's cool. I'm like, thumbs down.
Yeah, I just think that like if someone else in our pod had Animar and I was like, yeah, I'm building this very unique deck out of it, I don't really care that you're also playing Animar because the deck isn't built for the Animar combo.
If they are like, if it's literally like a completely different 99, if your deck is a really weird Maverick thing, then like, yeah, obviously it's not that much of a swag steal. You came up with your own direction. But typically when you have two of the same commanders,
Ashaya can't really get much different than
our lists were very different.
They were very different. Different purpose.
We only had 15 of the same cards.
So why was it taboo?
Because it was. I mean, it wasn't taboo. It was just like, hey, I suggested, right? I put it in our group chat. I was like, we should make a list that kind of, because there's kind of two ways to go with that commander, and I think he went all in on the beats.
Boom pile,
power and toughness equal to your forests, and everything's a land because it's all creatures, and then you destroy all non-land permanents. He went like kind of a gimmicky beatdown. Right. I'm not saying that in a disparaging way. It is like you're trying to destroy all non-land permanents. It's a gimmick.
Yeah, no, my list is sick. Yeah,
it's sick. It's sick, but it's trying to do this one thing, which is beat you down and then remove everything else from the game. Versus my list is trying to do these like really convoluted, very like narrow lines of like, I'm untapping to tap this, to untap to tap to make Ashaya win, right? Like I'm trying to make infinite mana, have an out, go through my list, do this.
Combo town
like crazy. And I thought like, well, why can't we put both into the same list? And so I came up with a third list that was a little bit in the, it's like 2/3 mine, 1/3 his. And I think that's, cool. I think it comes up to a point where I do want to build this. I want to physically build an Ashaya list. I've been wanting to play it for a while. So, it was nice to have someone to bounce kind of a philosophy on how to approach that commander off of. But again, I've never even played with you, Rampage. I've never.
That's a super normal response. But now next week, if Annihilator shows up in a green beanie and a plain t-shirt, wearing a hoodie and his glasses, that's weird. We agree that's weird.
It would be weird.
Not when we brought up Ashaya last week that you were both building the list, what was the first response? Ugh. Gross. What's changed? What changed?
I feel like Walter White when he's like, you got me.
Yep, exactly.
You got me.
I don't forget.
What do you want?
Okay. Huh? All right. Well, this has been the MoxStars podcast, the #1 podcast on the internet for hypocrites, Dr. Pepper,
fuck off, bro,
and Magic the Gathering. If you'd like to support the show, you can find us on YouTube, where you can like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more notifications. You can also find us on all podcasting platforms, or you can leave us a 5-star review to make us look super duper cool. You can also find our Etsy store. It is now live and featuring all available tokens that we do have. A few people have left some things in their carts, so go out, check it out, get your hands on some MoxStars tokens. They're the sickest in the world. You can also support us on Patreon by becoming an official Pepperhead. For $3 a month, have your name turned Dr. Pepper Red on the Discord server. I'm thinking about adding another server. It's called the Ideas tier. That if you want to contribute ideas to the MoxStars podcast, one person has been requesting to submit input. I should charge $2,300 a month for flavor purposes. There we go. Like, that's a great idea. All right. Well, tune in next week for our continued conversation on Taboo and deck building. We're out of here. Peace.